Every single time you scroll through your feed or watch a video or just like a post, you're actually spending a currency. It's one you might not even realize you have, your attention. So today, we're going to dive into exactly why your focus has become one of the most valuable things for sale in the digital world.
So what is this attention economy anyway? Well, to put it simply, it's a way of thinking that treats our attention like it's a scarce resource. I mean, think about it like gold or oil. It's something valuable that can be mined, captured, and then sold. And these platforms, they are literally engineered to do just that. You know those features, right? Infinite scroll, videos that just start playing on their own, all those push notifications. They're all designed to wear you down and keep you hooked. And behind it all, you've got these powerful algorithms that are learning exactly what makes you stop and look, usually something that gets a big emotional reaction. And then they just feed you more and more of it. So in the end, you have to realize the product isn't the app. The product is you, or more specifically, your time and your focus, all packaged up and sold to the highest bidder.
Okay, but what happens when this constant, relentless goal of capturing our attention starts to clash with, our actual well-being? Well, that question brings us to a huge real-world example, one that gave us all a pretty shocking peek behind the curtain at one of the biggest players in the game. We're talking about the Facebook files leak.
So back in 2021, this massive trove of internal documents from inside Facebook, what we now call Meta, was leaked to the public. And look, this wasn't just some marketing fluff. We're talking about their own internal research, private presentations, even really candid discussions between employees. It was a huge deal because for the very first time, the rest of the world got a real, unfiltered look at what the company actually knew about the impact its platforms were having out in the real world.
And the person who decided to pull back that curtain, that was Frances Haugen, a former product manager at Facebook. I mean, you have to imagine she took a huge personal and professional risk to do this, but she did it because she believed the public had a right to know what was going on inside. So what was the big bombshell in these documents? Well, the core revelation was this. Facebook's own research, the stuff they were doing internally, it showed they were totally aware of the harmful effects their platforms were having on society. We're talking about everything from damaging teen mental health to supercharging misinformation. And yet, time and time again, the documents reveal this pattern of prioritizing profit and growth over actually doing anything to fix these massive problems.
And right there, you see this fundamental conflict, this huge clash. On one hand, you have the company's own data, their own knowledge that their products were causing real harm. But on the other hand, you have this overwhelming #1 priority: keep growing, keep capturing attention, because hey, that's what makes the money. The crazy part is, this wasn't some accusation from an outsider or a critic. This was the tension laid bare in their own files.
So when all of this internal conflict suddenly became very, very public, how did the outside world react? Well, it led to a pretty massive organized response, pulling in everyone from civil rights groups to major corporations. It became known as the Stop Hate Boycott.
Yeah, so in direct response to how the platform was handling all the hate speech and misinformation, a coalition of groups decided to hit them where it hurts, their ad revenue. They launched this really powerful campaign called Stop Hate for Profit. And the goal? It was actually pretty simple. Convince some of the biggest advertisers in the world to just stop spending money on the platform.
And let me tell you, this wasn't some small fringe effort. The groups behind this were heavy hitters. We're talking about some of the most prominent civil rights organizations out there. The Anti-Defamation League, the NAACP, Color of Change. You get the picture. Having them on board, that brought a ton of weight and credibility to the whole movement.
And this thing caught on fast, like incredibly fast. The campaign kicked off in early July 2020, and by the middle of that same month, hundreds of huge global brands had signed on. We're talking companies like Coca-Cola, Unilever, Ford. All of them agreed to pause their advertising for the entire month. It was just this massive, coordinated push to demand some real accountability.
So, you've got this massive leak, a global boycott. What does it all really mean when you put it together? Well, it brings us right back to that central question we started with. It really forces us to think about, what is the real price of a single click?
The most crucial takeaway here is this. All of these events, they just completely expose this deep structural problem, a tension that's baked right into the social media business model. When your number one goal is just to maximize engagement, to keep people clicking, watching, scrolling for as long as possible, that goal can, and often does, directly clash with really important things like user safety and the overall health of society.
And that leaves us with one last really critical question to think about. In an economy that's built from the ground up to capture our focus, where our attention is literally the product being sold to the highest bidder, who is paying the real price for it all?